So as you see, this is us, lovely picture, blah, blah, blah. What is OneWeb, basically? OneWeb is the digital experience, the web channel for Mercedes-Benz. If you want to know something about the Mercedes vehicle, you will likely end up in OneWeb. We are present in over 50 markets on wholesale and also present in retail, where we manage and deliver content for over 1,600 retailers. So in all, we could say we manage the system where close to 1,700 sites are running, and we deliver close to 200,000 web pages. And we have a complex system around that, and that's not the point. The point is that we aim to deliver the same premium experience to our end users in the internet as Mercedes aims to deliver to the users who actually buy a car and are driving or riding in a Mercedes. And that was kind of the intro. And am I in the right slide? I am. So recently we launched the GLC. I don't know if you have seen it. It's actually a pretty impressive vehicle, looks very comfortable. I personally never rode this one, but it looks very nice. We deliver this content where we outline our vehicles, and it's a worldwide effort, so very coordinated, so that everything is released on time. And before that, we released the CLA. And you can see they're very different vehicles. And it will make sense why I'm going about cars. They're very different. The CLA is a very sleek car, very agile. And the GLC, it's actually a bigger car. Maybe the persona, the person that strives to have one is not the same that strives to have the other. If you want a sleek experience, you will likely go for the CLA. If you want something more bulky, maybe you will go to the GLC. And this is not showing in the right place. This is what I want. Okay. And why do we care about personalization? Why do we care about all of this? We know for a fact that if we deliver content that is more related to what you need, what you want, there is a higher engagement from the end user. There is a higher chance of conversion. So that's exactly the goal, to be able to deliver the same premium and personalized experience in the websites as we do in the cars. And here, like I said, it's not very apparent, but this is Mercedes-Benz Poland in both slides. Not slides, but browsers. And you see here that we have apparently two different pages, but they are exactly the same page. What happens is that here you are seeing the default experience where we are promoting the GLC, and here you are seeing the personalized experience where we are promoting the CLA. But they're the same page in the CMS, the content management system. It's exactly the same thing. It's only personalized. And if I refresh one, you will see that it's super fast. You didn't even notice the page was refreshing, right? It was like that. This is the default experience. It makes sense. It's fast. We optimized it a lot. But then if I go into the personalized experience, you also see it's super fast. So how do we do this? You already know because it's the title of the presentation, but we'll go into detail. We had this goal to deliver personalized experiences, and they needed to be fast. Why did they need to be fast? A couple of years ago, when GPT was initially launching, I don't know if you remember, there was this thing where you could create your own chatbot, you could create a system prompt, and it would be aim to that experience, to that prompt. And there was one in particular called Roast My Site. And I found it extremely funny, and I put Mercedes-Benz.de, our flagship market, of course, in there. And one of the things that the bot said was, it stuck with me forever. It was, the cars are fast, but oh boy, the site is slow. And at that time, actually, our site was taking, the homepage, for example, was taking 10 to 12 seconds to load. It was super slow. And since then, we have worked very hard in increasing performance, a management decision and with the support of dozens of teams. And today we are able to do, like I just showed you, this refresh. Oh, no, wrong. So, like that. And when we talk about personalization, we wanted to keep it exactly as performant. So, where is my PowerPoint presentation? Okay, so we covered all of this, so I'll just jump ahead. Requirements. We needed it to be performant. We needed it to be to not have content flickering. Let's talk about performance. You probably know this already. If you don't, maybe I can explain it well enough. But we have some metrics called the Core Web Vitals, which should be kind of the three big metrics that a front-end developer cares about. One of them is the largest contentful paint. And as you see here illustrated, it reports the largest visual element appearing in the page. It's basically like this. The first contentful paint here, largest contentful paint there. And they're very well documented. For a good rating, you need to be under 2.5 seconds. And our target page was at 1.3 seconds. So we had a goal to allow personalization, but not hurt this metric. Second one was cumulative layout shifts. Everyone familiar with this, by the way? No? I can go into more or less detail. Second metric, cumulative layout shift, measures visual stability. And here you see exactly what it relates to. You probably had this experience already. You want to click on a button on a CTA, ad pops up, things move around, you click on the ad instead. And it seems like they do it on purpose. They probably do. We don't. And we actually don't want this in our sites. And then the third, okay, and it's also well documented in terms of KPIs. And our target was at 0.09, so really pulling it close because we need to stay in the green. And the third criteria for performance was flash of original content. Anyone here familiar with client-side personalization, something like that? No? I know you are, Carlos. So this relates to, usually personalization happens when you have a client-side script, it runs in the browser, after you load the page, and you see the default experience. And then the script runs, and things change. And this is the personalized experience. But that's obviously not premium. It's not fast, and it's not a good user experience. So we really could not have that in our pages, and we wanted to exactly personalize this initial viewport. So we could not afford to have the flash of original content there. And of course, you already know the solution that we came up with. We explored several. For the sake of time, I won't go into detail, but we're working with edge computing for this. For those of you unaware of how edge computing works, it's enabled pretty much by the CDN, our content delivery network, which basically is a network of servers called edge servers that are geographically close to you and allow you to receive a faster response. Say you have a data center in Frankfurt or New York, you do a request to a page. Instead of going all the way to Frankfurt, your request is served by an edge node closer to you, already cached, so it's a lot faster. And you can also deploy small bits of logic. In our case, they're called edge workers. AWS offers AWS Edge, and there's a lot of different solutions. In our case, they're called edge workers, which is the solution from Akamai, which is our CDN. And as you see, they have 360,000 edge servers, which means that you will likely receive a response from the edge. Just for a note, during the GLC launch, we were outputting 1.2 gigabits per second in traffic, and usually our network traffic over the course of 1 month is on 700 terabytes. So without the CDN to alleviate that load, our servers would completely crash. But the CDN mitigates all of this. So it's really an important piece in the whole infrastructure. So edge computing, it was something new. There was There was no previous knowledge here for us, so we considered it kind of pioneering. We really were unsure if it would be financially viable because this comes at a cost. And we also could not affect our performance metrics. And lastly, probably the scariest one is that we're putting business logic on the CDN where it should not be. So it was a careful decision, right? The CDN cares about delivering content, not about this kind of logic. Enter the edge worker. The edge worker, in this case, is a solution from Akamai. And how it happens is basically you have the orange flow, which is when the client enters the page, and then they hit the CDN, the cache. But we can trigger the edge worker. In this case, there is a number of hooks. We can cover them later. We can use, for example, the response provider hook that allows you to completely create a new origin. So you can create a completely new response based also on cached assets, etc. But it's also super fast because of that. But you can do whatever you want. You can manipulate that response. You can deliver already a personalized experience. What this means is it's basically server-side personalization, but we're delegating it to the edge. And if you go inspect the document source, etc., you will already see that the final markup delivered to you is already personalized, as opposed to running on the client side. It has a series of life cycles. They serve different purposes. They have different capabilities. Again, for the sake of time, I won't go into detail, but we can explore them later if you want. But basically, with all of these life cycles, in the life cycle event loop, you are allowed to do quite a lot of fancy stuff. We are using it for personalization. For pain points and the actual real hard work, enough out of boring old me, and now I give you Ana.
Yes, so following here Pedro's presentation, so we had a lot of pain points regarding edge workers and working with them. First, it was the local setup, so we needed to have an Akamai local sandbox. We needed to have already an edge worker on the infrastructure side to work, to be able to work locally and to debug stuff. Then we had another difficulty, which was connecting to different data sources that were not inside of the Akamai web. We would get a 404, so we needed a proxy every time we needed to access a different data source. Since this runs on the edge, we have very limited Node.js features. Because it needs to be lightweight to be running on the edge. For local debugging, we don't have the most handy solution, but it is the advised one by Akamai as well, which was made through throwing errors and printing them as headers of the requests. And that's how we just got around coding in edge workers. Then we had the need to work with streams, because even though we are changing the response, we do not have access to the full response on our side. So we are using a rewriter. So we just give handlers on how the response should be changed based on feedback that we receive from personalization. And last but not least, we need to do all of this in limited execution time. So depending on the Akamai tier of the contract, you have different timeout timings. So besides we wanting it to be very fast because of performance, we actually need it to, because otherwise it would time out and we would have no personalized response. So in terms of implementation, afterwards, I will show you a scheme, and probably it will be simpler. But first, we have the activation. So the edge worker needs to have a certain configuration in order to be activated. Right now, we are activating it through page URL and by the presence of either a query parameter that we use for testing purposes, for testing a campaign like Pedro was showing, or a cookie. which is what we are going to use to understand if the user is active for some campaign. Then, in terms of personalization features available that we have provided now in the code, is the replacement of components for other components, the addition of new components in the page, either before or after a target component that already exists on the page, and last but not least as well, something very important is that we can personalize not only client-side components, but also server-side rendered components, which was also a stepping stone to get us better performance scores than we used to have, was by using SSR components, and now we can still benefit from those developments. So now in a scheme, maybe it's more intuitive to understand. So the user navigates the website and then we enter the activation part. So the edge worker will check if the activation is met. So if we are in the page URL and if we have either the query parameter or the cookie. If it is not met, then the cached response is going to be provided to the user. If the activation is met, then we have the response provider hook that Pedro already told you about. Then we access the personalization campaign. We give the user cookie and we see, okay, is there an active campaign for this URL for this user available? And if it is, then we use the response rewriter. And then we provide a personalized response to the user. In some, we have been with this on for 1 month in production. We already have some data. Those are the reports from Akamai, and we can see that no personalization versus having personalization on edge workers means only an increase of 59 milliseconds maximum. This is the maximum value because we see that the average is only around 18 over there. So it's pretty nice. So one of our first and most important premises is successful. However, if you also pay attention, we have there the number of total executions. It's different than the number of total successes. These are failures that most of them, I would say, more than 90% of these failures are not execution failures. And they come as generic errors. We are still trying to figure that out. We are working on monitoring and improving the monitoring to try to find out why are they failing and come up with mitigation strategies, but we are still exploring. So in conclusion, nice side effects of using edge workers for personalization. So it is possible to change use cases without deploying a new edge worker because we just do, in the scheme I showed you, we just use the connection to a data source that will tell us, okay, what is the campaign, what do I need to change in the HTML of the response to show to the user and show the personalized experience to the user. We were able to keep the benefits from the server-side rendered components. So we didn't have a negative impact on Core Web Vitals. We are faster intercepting requests since it runs on the edge. Also, we have less people working in the edge worker because this is something supposed to be more static. What is dynamic is what we receive from the personalization side in terms of campaigns that will change the content. So there will be less deploys and less things to go wrong when compared with client-side personalization. And we are using the components that we already had on the website, so everything works as it should. We have analytics, we have everything. We don't need to be reinventing the wheel. We are just changing the content to give a tailored experience to the users.
No, I don't know if we have time for Q&A now or if it's for later. But
Sure, go ahead. So basically, sorry guys. So just if you guys have any questions, go ahead. So would like to? Can I just start here? So go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Lovely work, by the way.
Thanks.
Just one question. So this would mean that the hook, in order to work, you'd have to have, let's say, the personalizations already pre-cached on the CDN, right? Or does it still go to
it's
you
outside.
and then you go back to it?
Yes,
Okay.
you could have both, right? But they're completely runtime.
So that would mean that if they were pre-cached, it would be even faster.
Theoretically, yes,
In theory.
could be, but you would need to somehow deploy or heat up that cache, right, before. And this system is completely dynamic. We have a new campaign launching. All we need to do is update the data in CDP, and it's done.
Fair. All right. So it doesn't, let's say, prefetch from you, store it, and then go there to the user, to the end user. It just literally goes, the user enters the page, then it goes to you again just to refactor that tiny bit, then back to the CDN and back to the user.
No, it runs on CDN. It runs in the edge.
Oh, all right. So that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry if I didn't.
So we intercept the response, we manipulate it. So we're already working with the cached response. That was the default. We just change what we need, and
All right,
and
so
we ship it
that
back.
was a question. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I build on that question?
If they allow.
Sorry, just building on that. So you make the worker connect to, say, an API that you have for personalization.
Exactly.
So it has those capabilities when you said that Node.js was limited. So
Yes.
it runs like the
Some
worker
of-
is a Node.js thing, and then
Yes.
you can just connect to somewhere else and get that response.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have file system, etc.
Okay.
All of those stuff, and then you're limited on the hooks. Some hooks have certain capabilities
Right.
because they have certain purposes, right?
Okay.
And some don't.
That's pretty cool.
So this shaped how we could do it, but in the end, I think it turned out
well
quite
done,
nice.
well done, cool, thank you.
Thank you very much. Who else? So can I just go here?
Thank you very much. I apologize, I'm biased. I'm trying to steal your ideas. If you do it better than me. But I'm curious about how you approach security, specifically DDoS attack and specifically monitoring.
So the DDoS attacks are already handled by Akamai. So it was already on top. The CDN already serves exactly that purpose. So we didn't have to, like Anna said, we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. We were just tapping to this specific event, which already came through the firewall, which already came through all of those security checks, and we're just attaching a new bit of logic there.
How do you personalize the experience for the user? Do you use the metadata provided?
Do you want to cover that?
I mean, that's on personalization side, so.
Yeah, what exactly?
Well, I know for like if you have a specific user in a specific location as provided by their metadata, do you like change the content based? I know in some instances, I know other companies, they like based on the marketing or marketing schema for that specific area, they can significantly and granularly personalize the experience for the user. But in other instances, they also use the user device information to, let's say, I don't know, meter the response or meter how the image is loaded to provide a specific personalized experience. Like you could have that granular level of control where you can increase the performance.
Mm-hmm. So here we're just manipulating the document. Those kinds of hooks check if this is mobile, if we need to prefetch, etc., etc. We have that natively in the components, and we're reusing the components which already have these optimizations in place. On top, it's all running on our infrastructure, which also has a lot of optimizations in place for image management, etc., etc. So what we're doing basically is, you know how a CMS works. You have some content, a guy called a content author, they create pages, they say this goes here, this goes there, this goes there. What we're doing is we're doing that programmatically, right? So all of the infrastructure that's in place, all of the optimizations that are in place are reusable and reused. We're just manipulating that specific bit of HTML, which is not a language.
Sorry. I have a microphone. Sorry. Can I just send the microphone because someone there is asking?
Hey, yeah, my question is, I think you already answered to it now, but can we do this at the CMS level? So meaning a market can go there and actually say the order of the components in the page?
So our CMS offers static content. So if we are not using it in a way that allows for that, it could, in theory, be done by server-side personalization. You could do it in multiple ways to approach it. So as it is, this is not something set on CMS or anything like it. There is market input. The markets are involved in the campaigns, of course.
Right? So the market asks to us, and then you do it on your side, the code and all the things needed to provide the personalization.
Yeah.
For that campaign. Okay.
Mostly changing payloads. The code is reusable.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thanks.
And you need to take one.
Thank you. And finally,
thank you. Sorry, this is really interesting. That's why. Do you think that your personalization server, can I call it that? Yeah, beats the purpose of having edge things, right? Because you probably are connecting to a more centralized, even if you have multiple instances of that personalization server, then you're losing the edge there because your edge things still need to connect to a more centralized API. And therefore, I don't know, but maybe wrong assumption, but like, do you guys feel that you got a bit lucky that that server is strong enough to support all these different locations and then answer in a quick way and be able to achieve these? Yeah.
I answered this one. Yes, we got lucky. We were scared because of the sub requests that we needed to do, because we not only need to connect also with what is going to give us the personalization payload, but we also need to request the server side rendered components, so especially when we are talking about those. So we were still exploring and seeing, and it's going pretty well. But yes, you are right in that sense that we are on the edge, but we are connecting to stuff that.
And then you need to make the personalization server on the edge as well, so that you can go connect closer. And
I would say it was a calculated risk. First, our personalization server had already established that the responses would be under 200 milliseconds. It's their KPI.
All over the world.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
They
ensure that.
All right.
It's under 200 milliseconds, which is, by the way, the cap that we have for the edge worker to run. So if it takes more than 200 milliseconds, it defaults and it goes into the default experience. So it was a calculated risk. We knew that in theory things would play out, and then we are leveraging the internal network of CDN on all steps. So, and we're never leaving that internal network for all of these sub-requests. So as Anna mentioned, we have these proxies in place, and the static assets that we need, we fetch internally in CDN. The endpoints that we have, either they're proxied or they're already handled by the CDN. So it was calculated because it could still, maybe we take 50 milliseconds to do all of our stuff. Personalization server takes 200. We're over 200. Boom, right? But we were kind of confident that it would turn out. There was also a luck factor. We cannot deny it. Murphy can always come into play.
That was me being cheeky. Well done. This is pretty cool. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, are there any other questions? All right. So, then, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.